What's up, YouTube? It's Davery. I just want to make this video because I've been getting a lot of people asking questions in the Discord, the official Megabonk Discord, um, about like saying, "Hey, I just tried the demo. I've got the full game. What should I be going for? What's a good character? What's a good weapon? All how do I unlock this? How do I unlock that?" And I want to make just kind of a basic new player's guide to kind of get good like strategy formation, get a good idea of like upgrade paths in the shop, and ultimately just make it so there's some sort of primer for a new player coming into the community. So the first thing that I want to mention is it's very important to not stress yourself out about this type of game, this style of like roguelike, bullet hell, Risk of Rain, Vampire Survivor style game, because it's very, very easy to tilt yourself. If you're the kind of person who is going to struggle with that, I'm not saying don't try the game. It's a very fun game. It's number 5 on Steam currently and rising for a reason because it's an incredibly addicting game. The problem is we get very invested in a run that looks to be going good, and then it might get lost to bad luck or a misplay or any number of different factors, and it can just be tilting, right? And I mean, I'm susceptible to this. Everyone's been tilted before by a game. If you're watching this video, I'm sure. But it's very important to understand that that's just the nature of this game. And the best thing to do when you lose, a solid run is to take a second, readjust your maybe step away, get a drink, sit down, and just be like, all right, we're just starting again. It's fine. Every run's gonna end. You're gonna have to start another one anyways. No problem. That being said, there are some things that dictate what a good run would be, right? So if we see this microwave here in the background, it's a gold color. Now you're going to find when you start playing that there's different tiers of items and weapons and upgrades and power-ups and different guys wearing different colored hats that are around the map. And you'll find these things. You might be asking, okay, what do the different colors mean? All right, well, that's a great question. So we have tiers of weapons that I'll show here. Or not weapons, items, excuse me. So we have green items. These are your commons. These are going to find more often than not. The reason my shop looks like this is a different thing we'll get into in a minute. After the commons, we have the blues. These are your uncommons. Okay. Then we have the purples. These are your rares. And then your yellows are legendaries. You basically, when you find a legendary, when you're starting out, you just want to take it. There's reasons you might not want to take it later on, and that comes more like min-maxing your run, stuff like that. Don't worry about it. They're all going to be good for you early on. They're all very powerful, except maybe Holy Book, but that's that's the spot, besides the point. But you'll familiarize yourself more with these items. I keep saying weapons, so let's talk about them. Weapons starting out, you're going to only have access to these 7. Your Fox and your Sir Ufi are your first 2 characters. Fox is going to have the Fire Staff. Sir Ufi, the Knight, is going to have the Sword. I recommend if you're just starting out to play with Fox and use the Fire Staff. It's a little more friendly to beginners, where the Sword takes a little more like understanding of its mechanics with the size and using the direction and all that. Fire Staff, it's just going to start shooting enemies. And then once you start completing your quests, you're going to unlock more weapons, more items, more characters, more tomes. So tomes are the other thing. What are tomes? So when you have a run going, you have a certain amount of slots for weapons and tomes. When you start out, you can take 2 of each. And you start out with the weapon your starting character has, which, if it's the fox, it's going to just be the fire staff, and you start out with no tomes. So you pick them up as you level up through your run. So when you level up, you get 3 offers, and you choose one, or you skip. That's a valid option too. But more than likely, you're just going to want to choose something. So you choose, a second weapon, and then if you're offered a tome, you can take a tome as well. Now, for you, you're only going to have the starting tomes. What I mean by starting tomes is if they have this check here, it's not a starting tome. And same with the weapons. If it has the check, it's not a starting weapon. Now, all these ones that I have checked for you are going to look like this. They're going to be blacked out. And that's because you haven't unlocked them yet. And it's going to tell you what you need to do to unlock them. So complete Tier 2 as Tony McZoom. That's a tongue twister, holy. Kill 1,000 Wisp as Fox, It's going to tell you what you need to do for each of them. Charge all the Charm Shrines on a Tier 3 run across all 3 stages without leaving the charge zone. But that's not... You don't have to worry about that right now. Just, maybe set yourself some goals of, okay, these look attainable. Once you get a little familiar with the game, you can say, okay, maybe these are a little more attainable. Maybe, you want to go try and unlock some items and say, okay, cool. These seem cool, I can unlock these, maybe it'll add more variety to my run. Maybe you unlocked some weapons now, you've done some things, you can unlock some characters, and you're gonna end up building your repertoire of what characters and weapons that you like based on playing different weapons and characters. There's not going to be an answer that's just the best answer for everyone. Ultimately, you get to choose what your best character is because it's going to be the one that meshes the best with your play style. And the only way to figure that out is to try different things. So you're going to, in your run, you're going to start earning silver. I actually have a pretty nice round number here, which is very photogenic and actually not planned of me, but we'll take it. The silver is used in the shop, and it's used to unlock, once you unlock a weapon or a tome or an item, it won't immediately be available to you. You'll have to purchase it with silver. And at first, you're going to be pretty restricted on the amount of silver you get, but you'll have an abundance of silver later on. When you finish a quest, which is what the challenges to get those items and weapons and tomes are, it'll have a silver reward for that quest. So you just click it, you get the silver for it. You can either unlock that item or you can go down to the shop here. And as you complete more quests, more of these will become available to you. This is just increase the silver earned. It's a percentage that you increase. So it's like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and it goes on. This was, I'll be honest, this was the last thing I maxed out. I didn't even get it to halfway before I finished buying everything else in the shop because it's just not really, I realized it wasn't that important. It doesn't make that much of a difference where you want to be buying things like the toggler. The toggler is the reason I can uncheck things I don't want to see in a run. So when I uncheck these, they're not going to show up in a run. I will never see them. Or if I want to see them, say I want to see a black hole, I want to see the axe, I want to see dice, whatever it is, we turn those on and we have a chance of seeing them in the run. You can do that for your items. You can do that for your tomes. There's nothing for characters because you just get the character you choose at the beginning, obviously. But yeah, so the toggler is very important. Next, I would say, is your weapon slots and tome slots. These are expensive. You can refund them for the full price, but to buy all your weapons and tome slots, it's going to be 150 for your weapons and then 170 for your tomes. So 320 total silver just for the extra tome and weapon slots. That's going to be probably the most expensive thing for you for a while. After that, we have these banishes, skips, and refreshes. Now, if you watched my previous video about my million kill run, which isn't, don't get me wrong, like that's a good PB, but it's not like the world record. But I talk about some principles in there. And one of the principles that almost everyone will go by is, that's going for a high score run, is your refreshes, skips, and banishes are very important, and they are best utilized in certain spots. Refreshes you want to save for the Maui heads, and I'll go through a level just to show you what the different things in it are. So don't worry, just you want to save these for Maui heads. Your skips are for bad level up offers. Now, you're gonna get some level ups where maybe you're offered some weapons and tomes you don't want to choose because maybe you're trying to test a different weapon or a different tome, or maybe you're going for a specific build. When that happens, it's best just to kind of skip the level up. You're still gonna get some stats for your character from it, but you're just not you're not gonna upgrade your tome or your weapon specifically. Your banishes, those are for items. So if you're trying to do a build where you need a bunch of specific legendaries, like with the bandit build I did, where you need a lot of Joe's Dagger and Zawarudos, you save these banishes to banish other legendary items. Or if you're trying to do a challenge where maybe you need, X amount of moldy cheese or X amount of echo crystals or whatever it could be, you save your banishes for that tier of item so that you see less of the other items in that tier and you only get the one that you need. It's a little more niche. Honestly, these principles when you're starting out aren't going to matter too much because you're not even going to have these, but as you get better at the game, it's going to be good to remember, like, oh, there's a strategy behind using these in an optimal way that might help me get a run on track that wasn't before. So I talked about Maui heads. Let's go into a run here, and we'll just choose Clank. We'll go Forest, and we're going to go Tier 1. Forest, Tier 1. So this is what you're going to see when you start playing, right? Now we have some, over here we have some pots. You can break those. They'll either have gold, XP, or silver. We have some chests. If you look up at the top right, it'll have the amount each chest is to open. And perfect, we have a couple shrines over here. So right here we have a magnet shrine. This will pull in all the XP on the map and bring it to your character. It's good to do these after a swarm wave. So if I just do this here, see it drags all these in. And this is what a level up looks like. So I can level up my revolver. I can get a new tome. I'll take the quantity tome. Oh, we got another level up already. I'll take the agility tome this time. You don't have to take one either. On the next level up, I'll show you skipping. So this right here, this like money symbol, this is a power up. So this is Stonks. It gives you more money per enemy killed. And we can go ahead and open this chest. Click open. And perfect. We got moldy cheese. This is a pretty good item. I'm not going to get into which items are better and everything right here. There's some content creators who have made good videos on them. Okay, that guy that just died and dropped that chest there. Okay, so first, few things happening. This can get a little fast-paced. With this level up, I'm actually going to skip because maybe I don't... I mean, obviously the best thing would be to take one of these, but maybe I don't want to. So I'll just skip. Now, what that did was it still gave me the level up stat for my character. With Clank, I get percentage in crit chance, so 1% per level. As you can see, we started with 1, level 2, level 3, and then we just skipped level 4. and we have 4% crit chance. So we still got the percentage. Now, that chest that's glowing right there was dropped by a monster that had a crown over its head. That's an elite. So each monster that you see here has an elite variant that's just does more damage, has more health, has more defense, but it has a much higher chance of dropping items. Now this can be the same thing that you get out of a chest. So let's resume here. Dodge these guys a little bit. And I got a wrench, perfect. So let's say I didn't want the wrench, right? Maybe I want more moldy cheese. Because this is a common, and moldy cheese is a common, I could banish this wrench, and that's one less item in the common tier, so that when I roll a common item, I have a better chance of getting a cheese later on. Now, wrench is another good item. I'm not going to get really into why exactly, but charge shrines, I'll show you in a little bit, are very important. The other thing, real quick before we get back in, because this is going to be a little fast-paced, up here we see two bars. We see our health bar in red and our shield bar in blue. Now you'll only have a shield bar if your character has a shield. You can get a shield as any character from one of the charge shrines if you get lucky, and I recommend doing that because shield is very powerful. But as you can see, your shield gets drained before your health. This is almost always the case. The only time it's not is when you're poisoned, which doesn't happen in the forest levels, so you don't gotta worry about that. And once your shield runs out, then your health is gonna start declining, but your shield will regenerate much faster than your health, so it's better to have shield. And let's say you only have 5 shield, and an enemy hits you for 50, you're only going to lose that 5 shield. It doesn't go into your HP until your shield is gone and you're hit again. So let's take this, and this right here is a charge shrine. So as you can see, you stand in its bubble and until it charges up, and you get, you know, some power-ups. So silver gain, this is going to give you obviously 8.1% more silver from the run. So that I don't recommend choosing because, like I said, the more you play, the more you're just going to gain silver, right? In the little bit I've done, I've already gained 2 silver. So 8% of 2 silver is really nothing. So it's better probably to either do gold gain, which gold is what you use to open the chests, or damage. Where, as you can see, I'm not really killing the enemies very quick right now, so I'm going to choose damage. Now, this power-up right here stops time for a little bit. And that gives me time to explain this shrine. This is the boss curse. When you activate one of these, a extra boss for each boss is going to spawn, for each curse that you take. So, I'll charge it, just to show you. At 7 minutes, we're going to have a boss spawn. It's going to either be the Stone Golem or it's going to be the Chunkum. And we're going to have 2 of them. See, that with the guy with the crown right there is another elite. Power-up drop chance. This, as it says, increases the chance for enemies to drop power-ups in chests. That nuke that I took, that clock, that stonks, those are power-ups. The chests are what the other guy with the crown dropped before, which is another item. So this is very powerful, because this means everything has a better chance. We'll just take more projectile count. Oh wow, we're getting a lot of different things in this beginning stage. Okay. You have a better chance of getting your items that way. Now this chest here is gold. Gold chests are always free, and they act the same as the non-gold chests. So we're going to open this up. We can actually hit spacebar to open it as well. And we're going to get a med kit. Increase health regen by 45. That's 45 health per minute, not per second. So in a minute, this will gain you 45 more health. Oh no, we died. What can we do? We can hold R and that'll restart our run. Let's see, I'm not getting tilted, it's fine. Now this shrine over here, which is the next one I wanted to show you, this is a challenge shrine. So when you activate it, it summons higher stat enemies to come after you and attack you. The benefit is once you kill all of them, you will automatically get a chest. Now, you can tell they're the challenge enemies because they have 2 crossed pink swords on their head. Now, let's scan. It's good when you're up at a high area like this to scan around. You should take this charge shrine. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the different colored tiers. So right here, we have a legendary upgrade. What this means for your level up specifically is you get the highest number change. So this goes from 0, normally it would go from 0 to 1 or 0 to 1.4, 1.6 with different tiers. Legendary is the highest tier. This is going to give us a full 2 bounces, meaning it's going to bounce twice, but each projectile is going to bounce twice between enemies. And it's going to upgrade our crit chance from 5% to 25%, which is a very big increase. So when you get a legendary upgrade like this, whether it be a tome or a weapon, it's usually a good idea to take it, especially if the stat lines that you see are good for you. So we're going to take it. And look, that was the last one with the swords, so we get our drop. Gym Sauce, get an extra 10% damage. XP Tome, that's wonderful. Here we have an uncommon item because it's blue. Electric Plug. Perfect. Alright. I'm not going to sit and do all the charge shrines right now. Let's do a little movement training. So what I'm doing right here is called bee hopping or bunny hopping. Basically, you jump right when you hit the ground, right? And that is going to preserve your momentum. So we're looking around, I'm looking at the mini-map as well because those green diamonds are different shrines. We'll take a little more projectile count, that's fine. I'll grab this chest. It's a key, that's good, that gives us extra, a 10% chance for a chest that we open to be free and refund us our gold. Now, bee hopping preserves our momentum and helps us build momentum easier. And that's important because you're going to find that the way to really get a good run going is movement. Really just going between the different green objects, kind of moving around as you can see the different enemies and skating around them a bit. Okay, I see it up there. That's the Maui head I was talking about. That is the second to last shrine I want to go over. So we're just going to go right over to it. We're going to find our way over. You can hold left control to slide down slopes and gain a lot of speed. Okay, so this is... Actually, we're going to save this. That's the boss shrine. That's how you spawn the final boss. We're going to save it. We're going to go over to that Maui head. I'm going to explain what that does. So, Maui head essentially gives you the best chance of getting good items. Because, A, you don't need gold for it. You just talk to him. And look, he already offering a rare or an epic item to us. So, what with the Maui heads, normally I would probably take one of these two. Both of these are pretty good. But just to show you, the Maui heads have the option to refresh. And when you refresh, you get different items. So, Echo Shards, also very good. That's another one you're going to have to unlock. The Moldy Cheese is good. That's one that you're not. And now, the next time I refresh, I have 6 more because I've bought all the upgrades for them in the shop. But now it's going to cost me 5 gold to refresh. Okay, so I refresh again. Now it's going to be 25 gold. I see my gold up here. Okay, I'll try again. Now it's 50 gold. Okay, getting a little expensive. Now it's 85 gold. Okay. And now I don't have enough gold to refresh again. So we'll take the credit card. It gives us luck when we open a chest. Now we have a boss shrine. We'll take that so I can trigger the final boss. Normally you want to wait to trigger the final boss until you are confident you can kill it. Right now I'm very under-leveled because we haven't gone far enough into the run yet, but it is what it is. We'll take the luck tone. Now, before I trigger the boss, I want to show you the last thing, which is Shady Guys. Ooh, Grandma's Secret Tonic. When they have a pink hat, you can get a rare item. When they have a yellow hat, you're guaranteed a legendary item. When they have a blue hat, an uncommon, and when they have a black hat, it can be anything, but it's most likely just commons. So this is the first of the stage bosses. This is the Chunkum the Terrible. You'll fight him and the Stone Golem. There's two of them because I hit the boss shrine. And basically, those red orbs that come up, those are its attacks. So you want to dodge those. All the bosses use like range style attacks like that. Chunkum probably is the simplest because it just uses the one attack. You know, we'll get some chunkers. Whenever you kill a boss, you get an item automatically. So, it's... once you get comfortable with their patterns, it's good to take more of those boss shrines so you get more items. And you get things like, okay, you get a common item here. Okay, let's not die to this elite. Get another item. Alright, let's just go trigger the boss shrine. At 6 minutes, we get a swarm, which is just a bunch of these goblins are going to start coming at us, so... you want to be strong enough that you can... a lot of them start coming. So, let's go ahead and we'll trigger the boss. Now we have two of them, because we took a boss shrine. Now, I'm probably not going to survive this. Let's take knockback here. Yeah, this is not looking good for me. And this is how you beat the level, is you beat those bosses. But that's kind of how you go through your run, is you hit the different types of shrines, different chests, you gain value, you find the boss shrine, you kill the stage bosses, kill the swarms, and then you kill the final boss. And it looks like a lot, and it is, but I promise you, if you keep playing and get more familiar with the runs, it'll be so easy for you once you get to a point where you're running, you know, tier 3 forest, tier 3 desert. But yeah, I hope this video was informative. You know, if you want to see more informative stuff about the game, or you just want to see different builds, or maybe some more like fun builds, things like that, let me know. I love doing these videos and explaining them, and seeing all the comments of people saying like, oh, this is super helpful, thank you so much. So I really appreciate the feedback everyone's been giving me. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Take it easy.